Okay, let's go to the provisions that are applicable to a pledge only, starting with Article 2093. Okay, so in addition to the requisites that we have discussed in Article 2085, it is a requirement of the law for the validity of the contract of pledge that there is an actual delivery of that movable property or personal property or that instrument evidencing incorporeal rights to the pledgee creditor or a third person. So again, a contract of pledge, guys, is a real contract. It is perfected by the delivery of the object, and therefore the creditor pledgee or the third person pledgee will take possession and control over the property in the meantime. And for as long as the pledgee, creditor, or the third person pledgee is in possession of the object, the provisions of deposit are likewise applicable. That means the pledgee, the creditor, or the third person will have the obligation to preserve or to safekeep the property while he is in possession of such. So that if the debtor, pledgor, will be able to fully pay the obligation and demand for the return of the object, release of the contract of pledge, it will be in the same condition, as much as possible in the same condition when it was delivered to the pledgee creditor or to a third person. Okay? 2094 and 2095 subject matter of pledge, guys. It can be a personal property or movable property regardless of what kind, what is important, movable siya, personal siya, or incorporeal rights. And when you pledge incorporeal rights, what you are going to deliver are the documents evidencing such. Okay? Incorporeal rights, guys, are property rights, ownership of certain rights, where the object or the subject matter does not have actual physical existence. For example, would be a membership in a certain club. What else? Ownerships of shares of stocks. Wala na sila physical existence. But what you can have as proof of your ownership over these rights are the certifications. So for the stock, certificate of stocks. For your club membership, then ID ba karon or certificate of the membership of that certain club. Okay, so anything basta dili siya real property. Okay, 2096, the pledge will only take effect against third persons if the description of the property and the date of the pledge appears in a public instrument. What do we mean by a public instrument? It is basically the document executed, signed by the parties, duly notarized, na notaryuhan. When you say notarized, guys, okay, that will only render or convert the agreement, the document between the two of you into a public instrument. Kung mangutana mo, ma'am, what if wala na notaryuhan? Valid gihapon siya, but the validity is only between the two of you. You cannot use that against third person. So mahulog nga enforceable ra between the two parties, but you cannot bind third persons. Kay the notarial of the instrument or of the document will bind third persons na because the public can already access the records of the notarized documents, because these notarized documents are submitted man to the court, to the notarial division of the regional trial court within a particular jurisdiction. Kaya accessible naman sila. So anybody who wants to know will be can access and will be bound to do yun. Diba? Immediately, he will have knowledge by accessing these documents. So there is a presumption that everybody will be able to get to know that because of the public access. Okay? But if not notarized, it does not mean it's not valid. It is still valid, but only between the parties. But if you want third persons to know and respect the contract between the two of you, then it has to be in a public instrument. Okay? 2097, alienation of the thing pledged. Kung naprinda, pwede ba siya mabaligya? Yes, pwede gihapon. Because in a pledge, guys, please take note that there is no transfer of ownership. You are only using the property as a security. So you can sell it. Okay, provided the pledgee consents. Kaya nga naman, di ba, when you sell, there's an obligation to deliver. Yeah, if you deliver, so it will be the pledgee who will deliver the item. Yeah, dili man na pwede kung wala pa maimpas ang utang because the pledgee must continue to possess and control the property as security. So there should be consent of the pledgee, and then the delivery of the object will not happen until there's full payment. So what will happen is that the pledgee will continue possessing the property now for or on behalf na of the buyer and not anymore of the seller. Pero kung ikaw ang buyer, di sa kaganahan nga dili mahatag sa imuha ang property, di ba? So what usually happens is that kanang igbaligya, ang part of the proceeds will be used to pay the pledgee para ma-release ang pledge, and then there's actual delivery of the object to the buyer who is now the new owner of the property. Okay? 2098, the contract of pledge gives the creditor the right to retain the thing in his possession or in a third person until the debt is paid. So this is what I have just mentioned. Dili nimo ma-release or dili mauli ang possession sa property unless there is full payment of the obligation. And as what we have discussed in the previous chapter, that it must be full payment good because of the indivisibility of the contract of pledge. In a contract of pledge, guys, the pledgee has the obligation to take care of the property only using ordinary diligence or the diligence of a good father of a family, but the expenses for the preservation of the object shall be at the expense of the debtor pledger. So if siya ang may gasto, he has the right of reimbursement from the, from the pledger. But if there's also loss or deterioration of the object, the pledgee will be liable. Because again, the rules on deposit will be applicable to the pledgee while he is in possession of the object. So the obligation to preserve, to safekeep the property, naa niya. So he must be able to return the object in as much as possible the same condition as it was delivered to him or her. Okay? 2100, the pledgee cannot deposit the thing pledged with a third person unless there is a stipulation authorizing him to do so. And if ever there's a deposit to the third person, he will be liable for the acts of the third person because the third person shall be considered as the agents of the pledgee. Because in pledge, guys, there is also that trust and confidence nga you will take care or you will preserve the object. So, nisalig ko nimo. Okay? What else? Let's skip. So I'm skipping articles because they are self-explanatory. So let's go to 2104. The creditor pledgee cannot use the thing pledged because again, he is not the owner. Okay? Unless he has express authority from the owner. But if ever there is authority for the use of that object, that is in furtherance of the contract of pledge, and only for as needed for the preservation of the property. Any misuse of the property, guys, that will make the pledgee liable for damages in case of breach of obligation. Okay? 2105, the debtor cannot ask for the return of the thing pledged against the will of the creditor until and unless there's full payment in divisibility of the contract again. Okay? 21,100, extinguishment of the pledge by return of the thing pledged. let's say, diba, if ever the obligation has been fully paid, the pledgee has the obligation manggid to return. That's the natural consequence. Pero what if the obligation was not yet fully paid, and yet the pledgee returned the object to the possession of the pledgor? Then in that case, the pledge is extinguished. But please take note, only the pledge is extinguished unless it was clearly stipulated na also the principal obligation is extinguished. Okay? Because wala naman ang security kay giuli naman nimo. Okay? And then, if the object is already in the possession of the debtor, there is a presumption that it was freely given by the pledgee, by the creditor. Otherwise, there will be an issue of robbery or theft as the case may be. Okay? The pledgee, guys, has the right to sell the property or the object if ever the obligation is already due and demandable and yet not yet paid. So money in relation to the right to alienate, but again, not automatic appropriation, but should be through an auction sale. Okay, and then all bids must be considered, and then the object will be awarded or granted to the highest bidder. The highest bidder referring to the person who offered the amount that will cover the entire obligation. Okay, cover the entire obligation, including the interest and penalties. Automatic appropriation or pactum commissorium, not allowed. If ever the thing pledge is already sold, that will already be a settlement, full settlement of the principal obligation and the extinguishment of the accessory undertaking. Now, if ever pag auction sale, ang halin kay less than the amount of the loan, kuwang, then the creditor can still go after against that debtor. If ever pud sobra ang halin, for example, ang utang 8,000, nahalin siya og 10,000, the creditor will only get 8,000. The excess will be returned to the debtor because here, what we are using as the security is not the value of the property. I mean, not the property itself, but the value of it. So kung pila ra gyud imong utang, maoy imuhang bayran. Na kung kuwang pod 8,000, nahalin na siya 5,000, pwede pa ka maka-go after what do you call this? I mean, not anymore can go after because you are limiting yourself to the value of the property. So this is the risk in a pledge. This is similar to what we have discussed in contract of sales. If there is a foreclosure sale, you can no longer go after the recovery of that deficiency because you are limiting yourself to the value of the property. Okay, so that is pledge. How about real estate mortgage? So in real estate mortgage, guys, let's go to 2124. The property will be immovables or alienable rights, real rights over immovable property. In 2125, in order that a mortgage may be validly constituted, the document in which it appears must be a public instrument and duly registered with the Registry of Property, mo nang atong gingon annotated or gisuwat on the certificate of title covering the property. 2126, the mortgage directly and immediately subjects the property upon which it is imposed, whoever the possessor may be, to the fulfillment of the obligation. 2126, guys, grants us or gives us the real right of, creates the real right over the mortgage property and the encumbrance. So, it does not matter kinsay taghiya or kinsay na ay right to possess, but the property itself is used as the security. Now, what is the extent of the mortgage? It extends to the natural accessions, improvements, growing fruits, everything over the property in relation to the rule. Accessory follows the principal. Can the mortgagor still sell the property? Yes. Okay, 2130. A stipulation forbidding the owner to sell the property is void because you have to take note there is no transfer of ownership and a pactum commissorium is also not allowed. But the thing is, kung gibaligya yun and wa pa nabayaran ang utang nga gisecure sa mortgage, of course, dili gyud ma-release ang mortgage. But in what happens in real life, in reality, ang halin, ang part ana gyud pambayad sa utang so that when the buyer acquires the ownership, appeal na diha ang katong release of the real estate mortgage, the certification for the release of the real estate mortgage. Okay? And then I will discuss together here the chattel mortgage, guys. A chattel mortgage is a contract by virtue of which personal property is recorded in the chattel. So kani maoning nahitabo sa kanang mga sakyanan or mga motor nga wa pa na impas nga giutang, gi-installment. So naay encumbrance or naay right ang inyong gipalitan to foreclose on niya if ever nga dili ninyo mabayaran. What is important in chattel mortgage, the requisite of registration also. But what is important here is kanang affidavit of good faith. So the affidavit of good faith is a requirement for the validity that the chattel mortgage, is really intended just to secure the personal obligation. Okay, so that's pledge and mortgage.